Hello my dear students, welcome to your science class. This is Vivek Singh, and in this particular part we are going to discuss about osmosis, its importance, what is isotonic, hypotonic and hypertonic solutions. In last video we discussed about diffusion, okay, and here we are going to talk about osmosis. So how this osmosis is different and how this osmosis is unique if you talk about diffusion. So the diffusion of water molecules through a semi-permeable membrane. There in diffusion we were not having any kind of membrane, but here we are using semi-permeable membrane from a region where the water is more concentrated to a region where it is less concentration is called osmosis. Wherever there is more water, it moves towards that side where there is less water. In other word, you can say that osmosis is the diffusion of water from its pure state or dilute solution into a stronger or concentrated solution through a semi-permeable membrane. So what is very important is movement of solvent, or you can say movement of water. Why it is water? Because most of the time the solvent is water. So it is movement of solvent through which semi-permeable membrane, and from where to where it goes from high concentration of water to the lower concentration, or you can say from dilute solution into a stronger solution, okay. Or if you talk about water concentration, from high amount of water to the lower amount of water, and it occurs only in liquid medium, whereas if you talk about diffusion, it was possible in solid, liquid and gases, okay. And it is very slow process. If you compare diffusion, it is very slow, and diffusion is quite fast if you compare with the osmosis. So what actually this semi-permeable membrane is? It is a membrane that allows the movement of solvent molecules, not the solute molecules. And most of the time we are using solvent as water. So you can say, for example, water molecule, but it will not allow the movement of solute. If it is sugar or any salt molecule is there, it will not allow to pass through it. So that's why it is semi-permeable membrane, okay. What are the examples? Natural, this is egg membrane is example of semi-permeable membrane, parchment membrane and cellophane paper. So these are the examples of semi-permeable membrane. Let's see what actually this osmosis is. If you see, this is the semi-permeable membrane, and here you can see the solution. Two parts of solution is there. One is having high amount of solute particle and another one is having less amount of solute particle, okay. You can say the lower concentration of solute is here and high concentration of solute. So number of particle is high if you compare with this particular side. So what happens when there is osmosis takes place? So water movement is there from its high, okay, high to low. So here you can see, here if you compare water, it is high in amount, and so from here to here you can see it is increasing, but solute particle is same. Here you can see 6 particles, here also you can see 6 particles. Once there is equal concentration or same concentration or equilibrium state comes, then movement stops, okay. Then it stops, and when there is equal concentration or equilibrium is maintained, there will be no flow, okay. So this is the osmosis, okay, and this is possible because of semi-permeable membrane. Now we'll see what actually this semi-permeable behaves when if you put a cell in 3 different types of solution. There are 3 different types of solution: isotonic, hypotonic and hypertonic solutions. So let's see one by one. So before talking about those solutions, we need to talk about what is the benefit or how this osmosis is very important. So entry and movement of water into the root system or plant system is possible because of osmosis. When entry takes place through the roots, it is possible because of osmosis. You know that roots are having high amount of salt and less water, so water is more in ground level, so that's why water enters the inside the root, and that is possible for cell to cell movement also. Okay, so living cell remain turgid by osmosis. Turgid means it is always filled with water, or you can say the two states are there, turgid and flaccid. Okay, if you say what actually this turgid is and what actually, suppose if it is in this condition, this is turgid, and if you say this in this condition, it is flaccid. So when it is having equal pressure on its wall and it is in full shape, proper shape, this is turgid condition, and if it is in this way in a constricted manner, it is flaccid condition. Okay, so this is all about turgid and flaccid. So opening and closing of stomata is possible because of osmosis. So these are the importance of osmosis. Now let's see what is isotonic, hypotonic and hypertonic solution, and how this cell behaves when it is placed in three different types of solution. Okay, a solution which has iso means same, tonic means tension. So same tension is there inside and outside the cell. Okay, in solution, a solution which has the same water concentration as the cell is known as, or is called isotonic solution. When we are having a cell and we are having a solution. Okay, I have diagram in later upcoming slides, but here we need to understand. Suppose this is a solution and its concentration is same like what this cell is having. So if inside the cell and outside the cell same concentration is there, same density is there, so there will be no net flow. Water will go inside and it will come inside, but final, if you see the overall flow of water, there will be no overall flow of water, so there will be no change in the cell. Cell will remain as it is. Okay, so no change in the cell, as it is. Okay, and if you see about hypotonic solution, so hypo means lower, tonic again it is tension. A solution which has higher water concentration than inside the cell is called hypotonic solution. See, one thing we need to remember, that we are talking about concentration of water. Concentration of water means if water amount is high or water amount is low, and it is always a relative phenomena. Relative, hypo and iso it is always relative phenomena. We are comparing one thing with another. Okay, and what is the key point that we are taking? Concentration of water. So if it is placed in hypotonic solution, the cell will swell. It will swell, the size will increase. Okay, we will see with the help of diagram also how it swell, how it gets shrink, and how it is remains same. And if you talk about hypertonic solution, hyper means higher, tonic means tension. A solution which has the lower water concentration than inside the cell, means cell is having high amount of solute particle and solution is having less amount of solute particle, means cell is having high amount lower amount of water and solution is having high amount of water. So that solution is known as hypertonic solution. And what happens? The water moves through the cell membrane in both direction, but more water leaves the cell than entering it. So what it results? It results in the shrinkage of the cell. Cell shrinks. Okay, let's see with the help of diagram what happens it. Suppose this is hypertonic solution and the cell is there. So first we start with isotonic solution. Okay, iso means same. So the concentration of this particular solution and this cell is same. There is no difference in the concentration. So whatever will enter, means amount of water enters and exit, it will be same. So there will be no net flow and the size and shape of the cell will remain same. No change will be there. And if you come to the hypertonic solution, means what will happen? Water will go outside. Why? Because water is high, less in the solution and high in the cell. So you know that from its higher concentration to the lower concentration, water will move from its higher concentration. So cell will have high amount of water comparative to the solution. So it will leave the cell and it will result in the shrinkage of the cell. Sometimes it shrinkage of the cell. And if you talk about hypotonic solution, what will happen means here if you see the solution will be having high concentration of water and cell will be having high concentration of solute. So what will happen, the water will start moving into the cell and it will increase in the size, it will swell, and sometimes it bursts open because of high pressure into the cell. Okay, let's see with the help of another diagram what actually happens. If you see, this is plant cell, diagram of plant cell. It is if it is hypertonic solution, what will happen, water will go outside and it will shrink, cell will shrink, the protoplasm will shrink, cytoplasm will shrink. Okay, the isotonic solution, what happens, no net flow, it will go inside and it will come outside and total flow will be 0. Okay, so there will be no change in the cell size or shape. If you see the hypotonic solution, what will happen, water will enter inside, okay, and it will lead to the increase in the size. Here you can see the increase in the size and cell is changing in size because of high, you can say the volume of cell is increased. So these are the condition. And one very common thing you have heard about many times, that reverse osmosis, based that the function of RO you are seeing, RO is that we are using to purify water, is result of RO is reverse osmosis. What actually this reverse osmosis is? The process of getting pure water from a concentrated solution through a semi-permeable membrane is called reverse osmosis. So for that RO we are using to get pure water. What actually it does? So it is used to remove the salt or saline water as well as extra purification of water. Wherever impurity is there in the water, it will remove. With the help of reverse osmosis, we can remove that impurities. Let's see what actually happens in reverse osmosis. You can see normal osmosis is taking place, but if you apply pressure, more amount of water, again it goes to the another side. One side you can see the salt water, another side you can see the fresh water, and salt remains intact here and fresh water crosses the membrane, and this is semi-permeable membrane. Blue color is salt molecule, green color is water molecule. So salt molecules remains this side and water molecules passes the membrane. See here in another diagram, this is simple osmosis. What happens, water molecules passes through this semi-permeable membrane, okay, and here the osmotic pressure leads to the high in column. Here you can see. Now if you see that it is allowing only what? It is allowing water molecules to pass through it, but if you apply pressure again, what will happen? The fresh water here this side, it will lead to the change. So it is coming back, okay. So here we are applying external pressure. What happens with the help of this reverse osmosis? We are able to get more water, you can say the pure water, okay. Sea water is having high amount of another salts along with the water, so we are able to get pure water with the help of reverse osmosis, okay. So that's all for this video. Now what you have to do, you have to write the difference between osmosis and diffusion, okay, and you make notes of all the slides given here, okay, and that's all for the day. See you in the next video. Jai Hind, Jai